Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Granda, and we are FarmWatch. Our topic is environmental protection effort. Meet the team. Lean, Atia, Kevin Walsh, myself, Angelisa, Ishida, and Stephen.
Meet Jack, a simple family man who owns over 5 acres of land for farming. Pests and plant disease have been lowering his crop yield, and it's been difficult for him to provide for his family. Jack's crops also affect Emily, a single mother living in New York City. Due to the lower crop yields, food prices have increased exponentially, forcing her to make tough choices about her family's diet. Meanwhile, Gavin, a volunteer at Action Against Hunger, is struggling to budget resources in order to buy healthy produce. Did you know that between 20 to 40% of global crop production is lost to pests annually? Each year, plant disease costs the global economy around $220 billion and invasive insects around $70 billion. The world population is expected to reach 8 billion by next year. Considering this growth, a doubling of the current worldwide crop productivity is expected to be needed by 2050. Pests and disease are a major obstacle to achieving this productivity outcome. Accurate and timely plant disease identification is crucial. However, the lack of accuracy in current detection systems is causing significant productivity losses.
There are many direct and indirect effects of low crop yield. First off, we have shortages in food supply, which makes healthy produce inaccessible for the growing population. Farmers also have to suffer from paying the extra expensive pesticides and resources to grow a larger harvest without knowing if a large portion of their crops will be spoiled or not. The cost of produce is also affected as low supply and costly production will lead to a rise in prices for consumers. Then lastly, the overuse of pesticides to minimize crop loss can pose health risks to both farm workers and consumers. As part of our research, we spoke to farms all across the East Coast from West Virginia to Massachusetts. These are some of the organizations we talked to. All the farmers we spoke to reported that pests and plant disease were significant problems on their farms, and the impact of rainfall only further intensified these issues with wet seasons leading to an increase in the spread of plant disease and dry seasons creating ideal conditions for pests to thrive. Farm workers have used strategies such as crop rotation, monitoring soil health, greenhouses, and pesticides to keep these problems at bay. However, they do not permanently eliminate disease and pests from harming crops. Using these methods, crops will still be harmed and no detection technology is in place to catch the causes before they spread. Also, although pesticides are effective at treating these causes of decline, they can become a cause for the decline themselves. Use of pesticides may directly harm crops, farm workers, and consumers.
The solution: meet FarmWatch, your personal helper and aid around the farm. We have 4 key features. Number 1, pest detection. We created an CV computer vision model trained on images of the most harmful pests that have become pests to farmers all across the East Coast. Number 2, we have a computer vision model trained on images of healthy and diseased plants such as rust and powdery plants. And number 3, we have our AgriPilot, which is a chatbot that you can ask any questions, like, for example, how much water does my crops need? No worries. AgriPilot has got you with the answer. And number 4, we have AgriPeople, a platform where we can connect other farmers across the region and so they could share knowledge about agriculture and farming. Here we have seen that we trained our computer vision model with 30 epochs, and we've seen that over 90% accuracy. And as we can see here, it has done very good in determining what a rust plant is, a healthy plant, and a powdery plant.
Yeah, and when training our pest detection model, we have a lowest loss value of about 0.2 after 15 epochs. And next, we'll move on to the demo, which is made using Flask. Yeah, so this is a demo of our app, FarmWatch. As you can see, its primary feature is the machine learning models, which are computer vision-based CNNs that classify pests and plant diseases. Here you can upload images to see what pests they might be, for example. Let's try a stonefly. Yep. And as you can see, it correctly predicted the class. Then we can also try a mite. And then we can also switch it up and do disease detection. For example, we have rust, which is a kind of disease. And then let's also do healthy for good measure. Yep, it correctly does it as healthy. And then next we have AgriPilot, our chatbot friend, which you can ask your agricultural questions for any other needs. For example, how should I water my plants? It'll give you a bunch of tips, for example, adjusting for weather conditions, checking the soil moisture, a watering technique. Certain plants need certain ways to water them. We can also ask it something else like, how should I curb pesticide usage? And once you give it a second, it'll spit out another response. Yeah, and then here it has, for example, integrated pest management, crop rotation, use of beneficial insects to help fight the pests, soil health, etc., etc. So as you can see here, AgriPilot is a very powerful method of getting farmers to answer any of their questions.
It's important to consider the current apps and methods through a competitive analysis. Agrio, while an app designed for pet and plant disease detection, is very individualized, not providing a way to connect or have a live personalized chatbot feature. Tamani similarly focuses on detection, but only of banana plants, not providing a wide enough range of crops nor having the communal appeal that our end users, the farmer, and local community. Crop rotation, a technique of preventing pests and diseases, is more late stage rather than detecting and being preventative. When using AI, it's important to consider possible ethical considerations and solutions. For data security, it's crucial to obtain consent when using and sharing farmers' data. For possible biases, we aim to make sure FarmWatch is available for all farmers, not separated by socioeconomic status or location. Possible moral responsibilities, such as maintaining open communication about the app and providing support for local communities, is crucial. Finally, to ensure reliability, we will continue to monitor testing of our model to ensure the accuracy of the app after its release. The first improvement we would make in future iterations is to train on a larger data set to improve the accuracy of the pests and the diseases we can currently detect. The second is to expand the range of pests and disease we can detect for crops around the world in diverse terrains with a global database. Finally, we aim to expand this to a variety of farms and crops, such as cattle and fish, to maintain the benefits of this app on a larger scale. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
I'll go first. So team, great job. I really loved the market research you've conducted, talking to users. Again, customer centricity is crucial to understand your solution, and I really loved it. I wanted to ask you some questions about how do you expect farmers to cover their entire crop using your applications, given the fact that they are huge in size, I would say. So how do you plan to help them doing that?
Sure. Thanks so much for the question, Mosh. Definitely, that's a really good question. In terms of finding out how to cover a large group of area, it would be really good for the farmers to take a small sample from a crop, for example, and kind of test it on that, because from there, they're able to see how on a grand stage or like a large scale, they'll be able to kind of, like in statistics, you don't take the whole sample, but you take an individualized random sample. So that's the same approach the farmers would use as well.
Okay, love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can go next. Really good presentation, guys. Any thoughts on like a feature in the future, maybe where the farmers can enter, what fertilizer, what are techniques they've already done, and then they're still having these problems to get more updated solutions from the app?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, would there be a way for the farmers to say, I treated the crops with this type of fertilizer and now I'm having this type of problem in the future for your app? Or would it just be the app taking a picture of what the current condition is and giving advice after that?
Well, okay. Well, obviously, if the solution recommended doesn't exactly work, they can always ask again and see if there's another method or be more specific with their problem. That might lead to a more specific solution. And otherwise, if the solution doesn't work, they can always consult other farmers in the network.
And just want to add on to that, utilizing the AgriPilot, you'll be able to, let's say, give the current symptoms that your plant might be experiencing. So like you go to a doctor, you tell them what are the symptoms you might be feeling. The farmer would pretty much give out any symptoms to AgriPilot, be like, hey, my plant's experiencing this, dry leaves, stem is kind of changing colors. And then from there, it could give you a predictive measure of what to do next or what the outcome of like the current state of the plant is. So that's definitely more work into the AgriPilot that could definitely be added in the future. And there's things that right now that kind of address that.
Brilliant. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you say
what
there?
are-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you say there was like a chat capability between so that the farmers maybe in the same community would be able to kind of share, or maybe if they're experiencing the same issues? Does that functionality exist?
So that's something that would be the pilot, the agri-pilot will be pretty much collecting that data. And then if that doesn't really work out, it'll refer the farmer to seek other farmers around the area, the region. So that would pretty much how it would work.
You don't have the chat capability or that ability to connect?
No, not yet. It's that's the next step. Yeah,
Got
because
it.
we
Okay.
laid out the foundation for that, and then that'll be the next step.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And the other thing you guys mentioned was expanding the database of both diseases and plants you can identify. Can you talk about the strategies that you're considering for doing that?
I can take this one, I guess. Yeah, so right now we're only really focused on pests in the Northeast of the United States, but we hope to expand to, for example, pests in California. California, a huge region, and it has a lot of farming going on there, so that could be very important there.
Yeah, and to add on to that, we can further discuss with farmers in different areas and see what problems they're addressing. Like, for example, I live in like Washington, so the West Coast, and there's a lot of farmers here that I talk to that were discussing that there's a lot of pests and issues they're facing. So in the future, we can take, with their permission, use like their data or information they have to further expand the range of our app.
Great, yeah, great idea talking to the customers and figuring out what their problems are.